Wrong switch. There it is. Hello, YouTubers. I hope you can hear me. I'm sorry that I don't have tech. No, I'm not sorry. That's a bad term. I thank you for bearing with me while I'm in my technical low point. Always turn apologies into gratitude. Gratitude is positive. Apologies are negative to the subconscious brain, right? So try to put a positive twist on everything that you say, because that maybe you'll become a wizard. Anyway, the technical issue of being able to hear me. I am trying to look more at the camera when I talk. I have a tendency to look away because I'm thinking. When I get thinking, I look away, and then I'll talk, but I'll be looking the wrong way, so I'm mumbly. I would have to upgrade my phone and my everything in order to get a microphone. It ain't happening. I'm looking for a school bus right now to upgrade my home more than anything. But I need money. I don't have the money to fucking pay my bills. Well, I do, but I mean, whatever. Not the way I would like. Usually I'm months ahead. Right now I'm on par. Anyway, so you bear with me, please. Someday, the Lord will open up the blessings. I keep failing tests, so it's not God's fault or anything. He's like giving me the opportunities, and I keep fucking it up. The Shadows. Really interesting book. God just sent it to me out of the blue. And it's your temper, basically. You know, or your that reaction to just react to things. I'm gonna set you all off here in a minute. Even the people who like my videos aren't gonna like this video. I'm gonna talk about some stuff that I try not to talk about because it's not woke. It's not awake. It's very sleeping conversation. But I just got to address it real quick. And so I'm gonna. We got these talking points, and we're all told to focus on those talking points. Like, those are the things that matter the most in the world. And there's 3 of them that I can think of off the top of my head, at least, that are the biggest, right? Racism, global warming. I had a 3rd one. And, well, I keep going to... It's kind of brotherly love, but it isn't. Because that is actually important. That's something that's real. Oh, yeah, transgenders, global warming, and racism. So, I seen a meme the other day, and it said that right now you can see me, but I identify as invisible. I'm transparent. I loved it. But that's basically what you guys are doing with this whole thing. It's out of control. And the human brain is programmable, right? So if you start with little Johnny and start pushing that shit into his head and keep pushing it into his head his whole life, there's a good chance that he's going to grow up queer. He's going to be confused as hell. Never going to know who he is. He's not even going to know how to figure it out. Like, especially if you start when they don't even understand sex. Like when they're little babies, which is what they want to do, right? Like that's the whole "don't say gay" bill. That's all it is. And it's not just gay. It's don't tell kids about your sexual preferences at all. There's no fucking need for these kids to know anything about sex. Shut your fucking mouth. When I was a kid, you didn't know your teacher's first name, or what car they drove, or where they lived, yet alone who they were fucking. That they were fucking. I thought teachers were robots for years because they were so cruel and fucking weird. I thought there's no way that these could be people. They gotta be robots that just sleep here in the school, and they turn them on in the morning, and they become these evil fucking things. That's what I thought, literally, for like 3 years. I didn't think people could be that evil. Anyway. And then the global climate change, blah, blah, all that shit. They've been talking about that for like 100 years or something. More than that. There's no evidence still. It's just a fucking theory. Now they're spraying chemicals in the fucking air, and there's no denying that. They're doing it. They even talk about it, and they're saying that it's about they're going to manipulate the weather so that they can fucking control it, blah, 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 all this shit. No, the climate change hasn't happened yet, so now they're making it happen. So they are forcing it. But it has nothing to do with cows or your car or your diet. That's fucking stupid. And I know you think that you're smart. And I know that you think, well, we're putting fucking molecules in the atmosphere, and that makes the atmosphere have more things that the sun can heat up and blah, 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 all that shit. Yeah, sure we are. But the Earth's designed for that. Right? It's got a North Pole, and it's got a fucking Arctic Circle. And it'll cool down all those molecules and pass them around. There might be a little more wind and a little less water. You know, it's a bigger deal when we put a dam in and hold a bunch of water from going through the cycle. So we're not letting it into the ocean, and we're not letting the natural flow happen. But even that isn't going to kill Earth or even hurt it at all. No matter which model you're in. If you're on the blue marble, oh my God, if you think that, which is fucking ridiculous, and you're shooting through space and fucking all random and fucking all that shit and all that chaos is going on, but you're happening to be here in this perfectly still nothing. Heating up the planet's the least of your fucking worries, bud. Like, the least. Wake the fuck up. get hit by an asteroid or a fucking, you could be fucking, the movement could stop. Eventually they say it's going to stop and go back the other way. You might get crushed down to a fucking dot, no smaller, no bigger than the period at the end of this sentence. And actually, we could speculate and go even further to see that it was all crushed down to nothing. So nothing exploded. And nothing will explode again. Whee! Should have had a V8. Anyway. And the transgender thing, I'm sorry. 1%, and that's a high number to say that 1% of our population has transgender issues, and probably 30% of them just have mental disorders and are going to regret the reassignment to surgery and end up killing themselves anyway because of something totally different. They just thought that maybe that could be the thing to fix them, but it wasn't. And then they do it and it fails and it totally fucking destroys them the rest of the way, and then they fucking kill themselves. So non-issues in that, of course, that 1% needs acceptance. Whatever, they've got it already. Bruce Jenner just won Woman of the fucking Year. Did you understand that sentence? That a man converted to a woman and then became Woman of the Year? It's a non-issue. The Don't Say Gay bill doesn't say gay anywhere in the bill. That word isn't there. It's, like I said, don't talk to my kid about your sex, you fucking creepy weirdo. That's the bill. And now racism. Do they ever fuel that? And every time that you think that you're killing it, you're fueling it. Every time they come into the room and they say, look at racism. And when nobody was looking at racism, they are the racist. If you go hunting to put a label of racism on every fucking thing that you see, it's gonna be possible. Of course it's possible. It's easy to manipulate the situation a little bit in order to make people see what it is that you want them to see. It's and especially with racism, because there's such diversity in our countries and in throughout the world now. We all just blend together and love each other and we don't give a shit. Right? And there, for the most part, is no racism. Little fringe fucking spots here and there. And then they put it into the cop stations because of the real problem. There's where you need to be talking about, see? Now, if you were to look above that and say, oh, who hires the cops? Who hires the guy that hires the cops? Who's above him? Okay. Now, why is that person doing what they do? Who do they talk to? Who do they hang out with? And where do they make their money? And how much money do they have? And how much did they have before they started doing what it is that they're doing with all this fucking race fueling? Okay. And then you'll start to see that it always leads back to the same few. And you guys talk about Bill Gates, Klaus Schwab. What's his name? Fucking Tesla guy. All these rich guys. They're just trustees. When the Balfour Arrangement was signed and Palestine was handed over to the Jews, it was signed to Lord Rothschild, who was the head of that family at the time. There's a new head, Jacob Rothschild, all the time. But they've always used trustees, other families, to go places and do their dirty work for them, and they would split the profits. So they would say, you take my money and go to America and own slaves and do this and do that and really push racism there. And live off my money and live good and invest it. And any profits that come in will reinvest. But you're gonna build yourself a house and do whatever. And but here's our goals, right? And we gotta push to these goals. I don't give a shit how you do it, but here's your goals, Justin Trudeau, and here's your same goals, Putin, and here's your same goals, Joe Biden, and here's your same goals, whoever runs England now, douchebag in Australia that's being a fucking total weasel. Here you go. I don't care how you do it. Kim Jong-il, here's yours. China guy, here's yours. Like they all go to those meetings. They all listen to those same fucking guys to get their marching orders. Then they all go back to our countries and they start implementing fucking whatever it is that they're going to implement. Right? And like, you can either start locking people's accounts up and taking away their money and fucking throwing them in jail. You can say going to protest at January 6th or whatever, that was fucking terrorism and blah, blah, blah. You guys are the worst people ever. You know, the truckers, you guys are fucking rah, 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 and fucking rah, you know. Anything that goes on, blow it right out of proportion and just fucking, and start taking. Fucking people up and taking away freedoms and rights and saying, oh my God, we can't let you guys all have these freedoms because look what you're doing with them. You're so small-minded, right? And then I watch shows online, news people. They say, oh, can't talk about those things. We can only talk about these things. But we won't ever talk about the higher things. Like Klaus Schwab is put there in order for you to have somebody to talk about. He's the canary at the fucking head of the corporation. In the 90s, that's what they used to do, was they'd make the CEO, they'd make it like a bird or dog. And then when they sued the company, you were suing their dog. Or you were suing this canary, pet parrot, whatever. So, all that stuff is what they want you to look at. That's what they're doing that purposefully. And I'm going to try not to talk about this shit because it's below us. You hear how I'm talking differently when I talk about this? I'm swearing and going on and cursing and fucking frustrated. How it's lowering my frequency even to speak about it. Ugh. I hope someday most of yous get it. And I hope somebody with like 5 million followers wakes the fuck up and starts talking for real. Stop talking about all these talking points that they give you to talk about and start talking about the higher things. Stop calling yourself woke when you're down here. I know you're not down here anymore. Good for you. But you got a long ways to go. So do I. I got a long ways to go. And I'm way above you. And then you're waking up to things and being like, oh, look at what I figured out to do, Sonny. Saying that for years. So anyway, I'm all done with that subject now. Frustrating as it was. I hope, for your sakes, that every one of you guys is above that. That you wouldn't even talk about those things when you see Will Smith or whatever. Even the Ukraine shit that's going on. Coronavirus bullshit. You just say, yeah. Not my God. Couldn't happen on this earth. When you think it through. Like the global warming thing, right? Like it just, the earth is a perfect cycler, right? Now, obviously they can manipulate when they start flying planes around and fucking like just blanketing the sky with poison. But even that, even that, the earth can take. Think about how damaging that should be. Like, you're pissed off that there's a plane, how much fuel the plane burns in order to fly. They're flying planes around for no other reason than to aerosol spray chemicals into the atmosphere enough to blanket the whole sky like a cloud covering. And you're worried about the fuel that it burns in my truck. Do you know how stupid you have to be? And I'm sorry, no. Do you know how brainwashed you have to be in order to fucking think that this is a problem when they have to fucking chemically fucking spray? Like, you see the fucking shit that's coming out of the back of those planes, and it hangs there and lingers in the sky and spreads out for fucking hours. and you know it's coming back down, what goes up must come down. Buoyancy law is going to bring it back down. But because of its temperature and buoyantness, it stays up there for a long time, and it can float at those levels on top of all of the other molecules. And then it seeps down into those molecules. They have to go through those lengths in order to manipulate the weather just a little. In the fucking upper atmosphere, they're doing that in order to fucking manipulate. And you think down here on the fucking earth that driving your car to work is going to destroy the whole planet or whatever. No, it can handle it. It's going to make it shitty in your area if you live with 1 million neighbors and all of yous are driving your fucking cars around. Yeah, that's going to be a shitty place to live. Don't fucking live there. Move. Go somewhere else. Fucking walk there if you gotta get the fuck away from there. Right? There's not even opportunities in cities like that. Most of the time. Unless they're like criminal opportunities and shit. Like, or top level opportunities. But there's no like middle grounds. No lifestyle for the middle grounds. Right? Either live way up in your penthouse, fucking out on the street, pissing on the sidewalk, jerking off in the subway, or you're in this living amongst jerks offs in the subways and stepping over people, pissing all over your streets and trying to fucking get to work, and they're breaking into your fucking house and stealing your car and fucking stealing this and stealing that. Raping this and raping that. Doesn't seem like it's much of a life. Move. The world is huge and empty. So, me doing hand signals and shit. I don't mean to. Trust me, I'm not paid by them. But, anyway. I hope that you're not pissed at me and that you're just pissed right now. You know, don't hate the messenger. Hate the message. Anyway. Have a good day. Wonderful time today, YouTubers. God bless you.